Welcome back to Anything You Want, the archive of untold stories and the heartbeat of the entertainment world. Today, we are not merely reporting on a celebrity update, we are witnessing a pivotal moment in the history of modern romance. We are standing at ground zero of an emotional explosion that has shattered the silence of months, a revelation so profound that it has already been etched into the digital consciousness of millions. Gökberk Yıldırım, a man known for his stoic reserve and guarded privacy, has finally stepped into the light. In a turn of events that feels less like real life and more like the third act of a tragic opera, he has responded to the confession that shook the country. If you believe in second chances, if you believe that true love can weather the harshest storms of pride and separation, then you need to be here, right now. Before we analyze the words that have become an anthem for lovers everywhere, make sure you have subscribed to our channel. Click the bell icon, because the story of Gawkberg and Seamra is evolving by the hour, and you won't want to miss a single beat. In an absolutely unexpected turn of events, yet one deeply, almost desperately desired by millions of fans, Gökberk Yıldırım decided to break the seal on his silence for the first time since the confession that brought the entertainment industry to a standstill. The revelation that Seamra had accepted an engagement ring while her heart still belonged entirely to him. For days, the actor maintained a silence so intense it was almost audible, a vacuum of sound that was unbearable for those who understood the depth of the currents running beneath the surface. But finally, standing before a select, intimate group of journalists, he uttered a phrase that is already being repeated like a sacred mantra across social media platforms: "Seamra is the only woman I would marry." With those words, crystalline, forceful, and impossible to misinterpret, Gawkberg did not just confirm the suspicions of the masses, he confirmed that his narrative with Seamra never truly reached a conclusion. He confirmed that the cessation of their relationship was merely a physical separation, not an emotional severance. He confirmed that, despite the geographical distance, the towering walls of pride, the accumulated hurts, and the suffocating silences, she remained his inescapable emotional destiny. This was the declaration no one expected to hear so soon, delivered with a raw honesty that disarmed everyone in the room. This level of public vulnerability is rare. I have to ask you, the Anything You Want community, do you think a public declaration like this is brave, or is it too much pressure on the other person? Let's debate this in the comments section below. And if you value the way we handle these sensitive stories with respect and depth, please consider hitting the join button to support our channel directly. The journalists present at this historic briefing affirm a singular detail: Gawkberg's voice did not tremble. There were no stammers, no hesitations, no diplomatic evasions. His eyes shone with a luminosity that betrayed more raw emotion than any prepared press release ever could. It was the unburdening of a man who, for far too long, had been the custodian of a love he could no longer conceal in the shadows. I have made mistakes, yes. But there are things that neither time nor pain can change, he added, his voice dropping an octave, making it abundantly clear that his love for Seamra is not a dusty artifact of the past, but a living, breathing entity, persistent, undeniable, and irreplaceable. And then, he looked straight ahead, piercing the camera lens with devastating sincerity. She's the only woman I can imagine a future with. With that sentence, the room fell into a stunned silence. Even the most seasoned reporters, hardened by years of celebrity spin, admitted they had never seen Gawkberg so vulnerable, so transparent, so willing to flay his soul open for public consumption. This was not a PR move, this was a surrender. To understand the magnitude of this moment, we must look at the days leading up to it. People within the actor's inner sanctum have revealed that Gawkberg had been struggling for months with an internal conflict that no one on the outside could interpret. He threw himself into his work, accepting projects tirelessly, maintaining a flawless facade of normalcy. But those who truly know him insist that his emotional life was marked by a gaping void, the absence of Seamra. A member of his team confessed, under the condition of anonymity, every time someone mentioned her name, the atmosphere around him shifted. He could be smiling, he could be deep in concentration, but just the phonetic sound of Seamra was enough to soften his gaze. That man never stopped loving her, not for a single second. It is said that Gawkberg viewed the news about Seamra's initial confession just minutes after it hit the wires. Witnesses describe a scene of paralyzed shock. He stood motionless, phone in hand, unable to process the reality for several long seconds. When he finally found his voice, he whispered the words many feared to hear, "I knew it. I knew she wasn't happy." The confession that she still loved him both crushed him and set him free. According to sources, the night Seamra revealed her truth to the world, Gawkberg did not sleep. He paced the floors of his house like a caged animal, reviewing old text messages, and listening to voice notes he thought he had deleted years ago. Rumor has it he even retrieved a necklace she had given him in the golden days of their romance, an object he always kept in the same velvet box, a talisman of what he could never get over. "She is my truth, even though I've sometimes been afraid to admit it," he reportedly told a close friend hours before facing the press. And it is precisely that fear, the fear of rejection, the fear of vulnerability, that now seems to have vanished into the ether. Gawkberg is no longer hiding behind the mask of the stoic leading man. He is no longer trying to appear invincible. He has surrendered to the one truth that has always guided his moral compass, his love for Seamra Arda. If you are finding yourself moved by this story, please take a second to like this video. It helps us continue to bring you these powerful narratives. Although he only mentioned her name once, the subtext was deafening. His line, "She's the only woman I would marry," was interpreted by press analysts not merely as a confession, but as a summons, an open door, a silent invitation for her to take the final step back to him. "I don't care what they say. When you love, you know. And I've known for a long time," he concluded, signaling that he is prepared to face the media storm, the public scrutiny, and any obstacle, provided the path leads back to her. But what of Seamra? The question dominating the headlines is singular: will she answer this call? Sources close to the actress confirm that she has already heard Gawkberg's declaration. They describe a scene of profound intimacy. She listened alone, sitting in the sanctuary of her home, her hands trembling and her heart racing against her ribs. Witnesses claim that she cried, then smiled through the tears, then cried again. It was the phrase she had dreamed of hearing in the deepest recesses of her heart. But she never imagined it would arrive now, in the midst of the greatest emotional turmoil of her life. As soon as Gawkberg's interview went viral, Seamra Arda's phone became a beacon of chaos, hundreds of messages, notifications, and headlines flooding in. But she answered none of them. She didn't leave her house. She didn't speak to anyone. A close friend revealed that upon hearing the words, "the only woman I would marry," Seamra dropped her phone on the table, covered her mouth with her hands, and wept with a ferocity she hadn't allowed herself in months. She wasn't crying from pain, the source clarified. She was crying from relief. From relief and from terror. Because love isn't always a fairy tale. Sometimes it's an internal war between what you want and what you fear to lose again. For weeks, she had been building a fortress around her heart, trying to convince herself to follow a path of logic and safety. But hearing Gawkberg publicly confess that she was his only choice pulverized her last internal barrier. "What do I do now?" she reportedly whispered between sobs, fully aware that the trajectory of her life had just shifted irrevocably. Many believe that Gawkberg's words amounted to an indirect emotional marriage proposal, a total surrender to the love he had always tried to protect. The ball is now in Seamra's court. Will she walk through the door he has opened, or will fear keep them apart? We will be here to witness the next chapter of this saga. Thank you for watching Anything You Want. We are more than a channel, we are a community of dreamers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us to keep the conversation alive. Until next time, remember, sometimes, the longest road leads you right back home.